Welcome back, guys. How's it going? I've got my man Johnny's gun here from OTM Airsoft, Speedsoft team. Congratulations to these guys. They just won their first 2v2 pistol versus shotgun tournament at Shot Zone in Indiana. They are all using heavy metal Hi-Capas or custom tuned heavy metal Hi-Capas. Or custom-tuned heavy metal Hi-Capas. I looked over all of their guns the night before. Johnny unfortunately wasn't there. I did have his gun on my bench here, and I wanted to go over an issue with you guys. You guys might run into this issue. I've built a lot of guns last year. I've probably got over 40 guns out on the field, and I haven't really been seeing this issue until just recently. This is the third time I've actually replaced one of these, and I'm talking about the inner chassis here. And I'll go over where and how to replace this and how to tell if you actually need to replace this. So the first thing, the symptoms were half cocking, so the first thing, the symptoms actually were, so first thing, the symptoms were half cocking, the hammer not engaging at all, and of course we thought it was the sear spring at first, just the classic change the sear spring out. So at first we thought it was the sear spring, of course. We changed that out, and that didn't do it. Still having problems. So I went in, and what I did was I checked the reset to make sure that valve knocker in there would drop. And what you can do, the way you can test that is just push your hammer forward, and you'll see the valve knocker, or the firing pin if you want to call it a firing pin, because that's basically what it is. Push your hammer back and then push your reset down, and you should see that valve knocker jump back into the frame like that. If you don't see that, then there's definitely a problem inside the frame here. So I did that check, and I obviously knew there was something going on in the frame, and it probably wasn't the sear spring. So you get down to this point here. If you can get down to this point here, take your gun apart. You're going to go for this screw. You're going to take that screw out, and we're going to lift up. Now this is actually a really tight fit because I already replaced this and did a little work. I had to do a little work on the reset. So let me pop this off. Okay, there we go. Just lift up. Should be able to lift up and pull out. Now be careful, because that little pin in there kind of likes to hide in there and likes to stay in there, so just be mindful of that. And you turn this over, and here's your inner chassis assembly right here. This houses the spring, your valve knocker, that's your valve knocker right there, or your firing pin if you want to call it that, because that actually does come forward and fire your pistol. And then you've got your reset, that's called your reset. That will reset, whoops, should probably put that in there. That's called your reset, and that will reset your firing pin. I flip this over. That spring fell out on me, so the spring goes around the post, and that's what actuates your valve knocker right there. And so we pop that spring off, set that to the side, drop your valve knocker out. Now we get into this little screw here. Now we get into this little screw right here, and that is going to alright, so if you see that little screw right there, that's how we're going to get this chassis plate off and actually get into, that's how we're going to get this chassis plate off and then get into the reset. If you need to change out your reset or your reset spring, this one is moving pretty freely. So if you do need to change this plate, I'll show you what happened here. The little pin broke off right from that spot there. That pin holds the spring on there, but then that pin actually goes into the little hole right here. Let me grab a different one. on your sear. So that holds your sear, and your sear pivots on that right there. Now this one here came out of Johnny's gun, and that little post broke off. Well, this one here, the front of it broke off. I don't know how the hell that happened. This is part right here on the front where when you slide the magazine up, that pretty much rides right in there and locks it in so it doesn't have any movement, I guess. When you put your magazine in, that piece kind of rides right there, and I'm not sure if the magazine went up too far on this one and sheared it off or what. But that's two of them now that I've replaced. I've also replaced one on my man Zach's Hi-Capa from OTM Airsoft also. Now, his gun kind of wasn't tournament ready as I saw fit, so I actually built him a Hi-Capa just for this tournament. And this just happens to be one of the tournament final match winning. This wasn't exactly the tournament winning, but the final match Zach was playing with Little Joe. Little Joe is also using a heavy metal Hi-Capa. So these guns are tournament ready and tournament winners. Alright, so back to this. Alright, now if you need to change this out, we're just going to go for this screw right here. Take that out. Lift up on that plate. And then you can drop your new one right on there if you need to. Or if you need to change out your reset, you can pop the reset off. Be mindful of the spring underneath there. And I already did some work on this. I had to do some filing in here with that little window in order for this to move smoothly and perfectly. And then I also did a little bit of work on the reset. It felt a little there was like a little burr on it, so I went ahead and changed that. So I went ahead and kind of filed that down with some 600, polished it up and everything, and smoothed out the edges. So I went ahead and polished that up with some 600 grit, smoothed out the edges, and it's working pretty smoothly right now. I also noticed, I want to give you guys